folks, welcome to the Smack Drop Podcast. We are having a very special edition today. Joining myself and Benji, we have the Queen of NE. How you doing, Miss Queen?
Oh, I'm so good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. You guys, you can find her every Wednesday. She hosts Queen's Court on BrainBustaRadio, which is on Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher. Actually, pretty much anywhere podcasts can be found, I realized. She's also Queen of DYWTSB, which is also found on iTunes, Google Play, and MWSN. Miss Queen, how are you?
I'm doing great. I want to say thanks so much for asking me to come on and chat with you guys today. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We are equally as excited to have you, actually, on the show. But I'll get right into it, man. I was listening to Queenie Chat earlier today, where you had a interview with PPW's pro wrestling commentator, Mr. Rogan. Sounds like such a fun old school wrestling fan. And how'd you secure that, by the way?
Oh man, Bro Rogan is the coolest. He's got such a great wrestling mind. So on my show DYWTSB with Pops and Mort, we had started this partnership with PowerSlam.tv, and we started to look at, different independent wrestling promotions and watch different matches, different shows. And PPW, Paradigm Pro Wrestling, through Bro Rogan, reached out and was like, hey, do you want to watch and review one of our shows? And we did. It was called the Heavy Hitters Tournament. Oh my God, so great. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I'd never seen their promotion before, but I loved it. And we fell in love with them right away, and we started doing more reviews and interaction with them. And from there, he came on DYWTSB, and I had said, hey, I would love to have you on Queen's Court. I would love to do a chat with you and my Queenie Chats as well, just so I can pick his brain,
Yeah.
How cool is talking to someone who does commentary, right? So
no, he was
oh my God, I need to know everything.
Stories. Yeah,
right?
Oh my gosh, I was honestly, it actually made me more intimidated to bring you on the show because you secured such an inside guest. I was like, man, this chick is big time.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. Not at all. He's so friendly and so nice, and was so willing to share his wealth of knowledge and his experience as a commentator. It was really cool for me to dive into that. My other chat was with independent wrestler Kanji, who's super, super cool, and with a different perspective to get someone who's on the production team, right? So not what we would think of, right? We think of wrestling interviews and what's in the ring, but sometimes it's really cool to look at what's outside too.
Yeah, exactly. In hearing how they structure a show together, because when you're talking to a performer, they have obviously they're a huge part of the business, but I find that they have a more narrow role that they have to fit. And when you're talking to somebody involved with production, it seems like it's spinning plates. It's just a lot more things to pay attention to, and they do offer such a different insight that we're normally not accustomed to hearing. So I did think that was really cool. Have you so besides those two, have you had any other really I don't know how to say, I don't want to say favorite, because then you kind of take away from the other ones, but have you had any other inside guests that really stick out to you?
Well, the only two Queenie Chats I've had is with Bro Rogan and Kanji.
Okay. As
I broke today on my other episode, Kanji's coming back. So her and I are going to chat again. She had a tryout with NXT UK and made her NXT UK debut at Download Festival. So I'm going to be talking to her about that and how things have changed for her in the past couple months since we chatted. But my other show, it's not really my other show, it's just an extension of Queen's Court, really, is Queenie Chats. But on Queen's Court, I've had some really cool, awesome guests. This week I had Bro Rogan and my pal Mags from Badlands podcast. They did the Hall of Fame episode with me. One of my... Okay, well, we won't use favorite. One of my most fun episodes. I don't want to be rude because I've loved every single person I've had on Queen's Court. But one of my most fun episodes was with Heel Pops and Chair Shots when they came on to do my Heels Part 2 episode. Oh my God, those guys are wildly entertaining. So much fun. Aren't they funny? Man. So funny. And super real and honest. And it was so refreshing. Obviously, we both love heels. Their name is Heel Pops and Chair Shots, so obviously we know where they stand. But Oh my God, so much fun. I've had fun with really everybody who's come on. Recently I had Mr. Warren Hayes. We had a great chat about underutilized talent. And I had Mr. Anthony Suter from Spark to Death, and we had a great chat about fandom. So my recent episodes have just been so much fun, and I'm really excited that they've been well received for the most part, so I'm happy.
Yeah, like I said, I was just breaking into it, like I said earlier today. Been very busy all week, but I wanted to make sure that I heard what you had to offer, and I was, for one, I loved it. Like, I loved everything about it. I love how your interview style is, and you got Mr. Bro Rogan. He was going on with these stories, and it was just, it was refreshing to hear, honestly. It really was.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Now with Kanji having the NXT tryout, have you personally heard anything, or do you speculate now with, WWE doesn't have like the best PR going lately? Do you think there's more hesitation with people trying to get into WWE, especially with those lingering 5-year contracts? Or do you think wrestlers are just as excited nowadays to be part of the biggest promotion?
I mean, I think it's probably 50-50, right?
Yeah.
I think there's probably some hesitancy just because, especially if it's your first major contract of any kind, that if it's the WWE, you're like, whoa, holy shit, it's the WWE. Okay,
yeah.
Let me reevaluate my life a little bit and think about that. And I think the other thing is too, it's WWE, it's the biggest promotion, and while there is some hesitancy, I'm sure, given what's being revealed by former employees and stuff like that, I'm sure that gives people pause. But at the same time, people can read their own contracts and make decisions for themselves. As far as Kanji goes, I haven't talked to her, so I don't know. So I'm definitely not going to speak on that. But I would say, I'd say half and half, right? I would say that.
I would think if you're later in your career, you would probably be more likely to go to WWE, because I mean, AJ Styles recently came out and said that he intends on finishing his career with them, but maybe the younger guys who want to cut their teeth in multiple promotions, they might be a little bit more hesitant, I would think.
Yeah.
So
the other thing too that I just was thinking about is the independent wrestling scene is so much more booming, right, than ever before, and there's so much more opportunity out there, and so many other promotions that are alternatives to WWE that you can make a good living for yourself on if you were to get those particular contracts. So I feel like there's more options, and WWE isn't necessarily the end-all be-all anymore.
Exactly. When you go back 10 years, and maybe not even that long, and for certain it really was. So yeah, it's what an exciting time it is for the fans. As long as you're not getting caught up in all the, like I said, the lesser PR, the bad PR, the stuff that's coming out. At the end, I think the long run here is everyone's just going to elevate their game. It's being compared to the Monday Night Wars. That's the big comparison is with the rise of AEW, and then of course you've got New Japan, and even Impact is doing some good stuff nowadays, I've heard. And with there being more places for people to go, it just forces everyone to step up their game. And I think we're going to have more fun, all around for pro wrestling fans.
Yeah.
And so, and speaking of which, I assume, Miss Queen, that you didn't fall into this as a job, that you're probably a long-time wrestling fan, right?
Yes, very long time wrestling fan. Since I was a child. Yeah, it's a long time.
Was there a defining moment, would you say, back in the nostalgia that hooked you right away? Was there a big moment for you where you just sat there and you're like, I gotta watch wrestling from here on out because of this?
Yeah. So growing up, my parents are very strict, and my great-grandfather was the one that really loved, as he would call it, wrestling. So wrestling, and I was like, all right. So when I was a little kid, I wasn't really allowed to watch, adult programming. But when I would go and visit him and my great-grandma, he would have on wrestling. He'd go, come on, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it. My mom's gonna kill you. Oh, don't watch it. And he's like, I don't care. I'm older than her. I'm like, well, that's true. So he showed me my first experience in wrestling. Like, what is it all about? And I saw the Undertaker for the first time, and I was like, wow, what is this?
That'll do it. Yeah.
Right? The urn and Paul Bearer. I'm like, bro, what's happening? So weird, right? Especially as a little kid, you see that and you're like, doesn't that have to do with death? Why is this guy on screen talking about? So it's very confusing, right? A little bit, but it hooks me right away then, and I just started watching with him. And then as I got to my teenage years, it was really Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Hardy Boys for me.
Hardy Boys here was as my teenage years, that was them too, because they were really cutting edge and cool. And then they also mixed Lita, and you never really saw a lot of faction between with men and women where they were all equal parts, outside of maybe DX with China, of course. But yeah, as a kid, I got hooked with NWO Black and White.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was I saw people wearing their merch in school first or if I was watching wrestling first, but I remember that I just was sitting there and I was like, these are the coolest guys ever. And then I transitioned, you know, because you had Monday nights, so you're sitting there and you had to flip back and forth because there was no DVR, you know. So in swapping back and forth and seeing the Attitude Era on WWF at the time, and then like I said, NWO for a while was just genius stuff for a while. But that was my hooking moment, was just seeing the black and white. What about you, Mr. Benji, over there?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a different experience from y'all. I came up more with like the Lucha Libre stuff.
Okay.
And then I didn't have the WWF or Attitude Era. I've kind of missed out on that. I was only really watching pay-per-views, but I was mostly on the WCW side of things. Seeing all those guys, and then like for like Attitude Era, really it would only mostly be when we ever would get free cable. We would watch the pay-per-views and all that stuff. Let's just say it that way.
Oh man.
Yeah, it didn't used to be that easy to be able to watch all these different promotions and everything.
I remember as a kid turning on the pay-per-view channel when it was all scrambled, and I'm trying to like piece together wrestling pay-per-views, like trying to see moments like within that scrambling of it. Oh, I'd never even thought. It's been so long since I even thought about that.
Yes,
these kids don't know our struggle.
I'm telling you, man. You just push a button nowadays, and you got anything you want, and you can just bill your mom.
Like nowadays, you can watch, you know, WWE. You can go to New Japan. You can even get Stardom, which.
That's right.
Oh yeah, tell this guy about Stardom. You don't know.
You don't know about Stardom? What?
Unfortunately, I'm just starting to dip my toes in the indie scene and other promotions. I probably didn't watch any independent or different promotions up until it was Omega and Naito, and then which led to Omega's first match with oh my God, I'm put on the spot. Okada, thank you for saving me.
No worries.
Hey,
I was enjoying him struggle.
Stop, man. There's something about trying to recall stuff on the spot, man. I draws the biggest blanks. But no, that the match with the match with Naito that ultimately led to his match with Okada, I had never seen that level of performance before, and that kind of got me watching more or less New Japan. So that's really only been it. I'm looking forward to seeing other promotions, and speaking of which, with you getting that deal with Power Slam, thank you.
I got your back, buddy.
God. With you getting that deal with Power Slam, did you discover any other promotions that blew you away that you had otherwise not heard of?
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff on there. I mean, there's over 5,000 hours of wrestling. I mean, it's out of control. So many different promotions, so many different things that, you know, I had been familiar and heard of, like Riptide Wrestling and stuff like that, but I hadn't really seen a lot of it. So I started finding some stuff on YouTube, but there's a ton of stuff on Power Slam. They have great stuff from Defy. They have great stuff from Progress. They just uploaded the huge tournament that they did a few weeks back, or I guess a month or so back now. You know, there was stuff on there that I wouldn't have seen before or had access to before, which I think is cool. Like Rise is really fun. That's a new one that I was getting into. Over the Top Wrestling was another one. Really getting access to bar wrestling, which is Joey Ryan's thing.
Yeah,
that's really cool. You know,
I got turned on to that through Being the Elite. That's how I learned of bar wrestling.
Yep. I mean, there's so much to choose from, which is why, you know, the independent wrestling scene is so cool. There's always going to be something for you that you can find that you're really into. If you really like lucha style, there's a whole bunch on there. If you're really into, like, I wouldn't say funny, but more comedic style wrestling, there's something for you. If you're into death matches, oh my God, there's a lot for you there. So there's like a ton of different options, you know? It's really, really cool. And I've been loving diving into the indie scene, but if you really like New Japan, as you've been mentioning, I think you're gonna in like the caliber of wrestling, you're gonna love Stardom. You're gonna love it.
Nice.
Yes.
I'll make sure to. I've got actually a free day. I'll go ahead and I'll give them a watch here later on today.
Yeah.
Speaking of comedic wrestlers, that has been probably the newest thing that I've been exposed to because of some of the just most outlandish comedic wrestling that's out there. Do you have a favorite of the comedy wrestlers?
Yes, I do, and his name is Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy, oh my gosh.
I'm obsessed with that guy. I don't know what, his whole gimmick, I just can't handle it. He's so entertaining, and it's so different. That's what I like about him. No one is like him. No one does what he does. And he comes out, and he's doing these tiny little kicks. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
He's the most lethargic wrestler I've ever seen.
Yes, the most lethargic wrestler ever. But it's amazing. He's so great. I love him a lot.
Yeah, man. I like that he'll turn it on too, like after a bit. So it's not like ultimately one beat.
You guys ever catch his match with David Starr?
David, I think I did watch that one.
He stumbles into a Canadian destroyer.
Yes, yeah. I actually just watched it, I think, on YouTube not too long ago. But yeah, man, Orange Cassidy, and then of course the first name that comes to mind when you think comedy wrestling has got to be Joey Ryan. Jeez, I don't know, man. I don't know what I flip flop with how I feel about him, but it's all fun. And like you said, there's a style for everybody. You know, I know our other host who couldn't join us today, Mr. RobRude. He loves comedy wrestling, but he's only familiar with WWE, unfortunately. So I feel like we need to send him some videos of Orange Cassidy and Joey Ryan and the other various ones, because I bet that will be what gets him to watch some more promotions.
Which Joey Ryan is going to be on Rise Wrestling here in Chicago this Sunday.
Nice. Are you going to be able to go see it?
Awesome.
Yeah, I already got tickets.
You already got tickets? Awesome, dude.
Yes. Good for you. I love that. Do you guys know Wrestle Circus at all?
Yes.
I'm not familiar. Go ahead. Tell me.
So Wrestle Circus is really, really cool. It's down in Texas, and they've been putting on some really cool shows. They just had one a couple days ago, and there's this other guy there, Gentleman Jervis. He wears like a funny kind of mask and a bowler hat. But he had a match with Orange Cassidy, and he like rocked him to sleep.
I saw that. Actually, I do know the match that you're talking about now. Yes.
That's another one, and he's so positive and great. That's another thing that you might want to throw at your other co-host there.
Nice. Yeah, he rocked him to sleep. That's not the first time I've seen that though. I want to say I saw that in another match too. That spot. I'm trying to remember. Oh well, no, it was great. It was definitely great. But going back to it, Miss Queen, you mentioned earlier as a kid that it was Undertaker that mesmerized you watching wrestling. Now, Undertaker obviously it's fair to say, in the twilight years of his career, and hasn't been turning out classics like he used to. Do you feel that the more recent matches that he's had are tarnishing his legacy, or are you okay with the man still going if he feels like he can?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a wrestler. I'm not that kind of athlete. I can't make that sort of call. If he still feels like he can do it, then that's up to him. However, coming from a fan's perspective, at least my personal opinion, I wish that the streak had never been broken.
Okay.
Ooh, I wish the streak, I wish he had ended it and left with a perfect record and passed it off to somebody, passed the torch, so to speak, of that whole persona as the Undertaker. You know, a Bray Wyatt, for example, would have been a great choice to say, you know, you're going to take over this whole vibe. Not the same, but I'm passing it to you, kind of thing. I really wish they had done that. It's just, for me, uncomfortable to watch him wrestle. It makes me really nervous, and I felt the same way about Kurt Angle. I get really nervous because I know that they have health problems, and you know they've had countless number of surgeries, and it just makes it uncomfortable and not enjoyable to watch. Do I still pop every time I hear his music? Of course, he's the Undertaker.
Yeah.
But you know, for me, it's like, oh my god, dude, like just stop, because I don't want anything bad to happen. I don't want him to ruin the rest of his life. He's got so much more life to live. And I feel like, why are we doing this? We're doing this for money? Come on. You know, it's like, that just makes me sad.
Yeah, it's hard to say what motivates wrestlers to go arguably beyond when they should in a lot of people's eyes. Like no one I'm for, if you're an adult, it's up to you to decide when to walk away.
Right.
It's not up to the fans. If you want to keep doing it, that's your right to keep going, you know. But you're right. I mean, the risk of injury. I personally on Monday Night Raw because I assume you saw how everyone blew up with his match with Goldberg, and how that wasn't well received. But
yeah, I didn't watch that show for personal reasons.
Right.
But I heard about the match, that it was not good and there were some dangerous spots. Yes.
Yeah, and I saw it and I felt the same way. I was like, man, I just don't want to see this anymore. And I kind of was jumping on the public opinion bandwagon. And then when I heard his music on Monday, I forgot all about the match. I didn't care anymore. I was just happy to see the Undertaker again. And so yeah, it's exciting, man. And it's hard to say it, but I think you hit it right. You want someone to walk away when they can, so that they have life after wrestling. You know, you really don't want to see someone like have permanent issues due to their career, you know, and
yeah.
So it's a tough thing, you know, to really judge. But another thing that's been, I guess, catching public opinion is Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch's relationship getting put into an angle. And how do you feel about real life relationships becoming storyline? Do you feel like you should leave it alone, or are you all for seeing the drama play out on screen?
It's just a great question.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, listen, I'm just gonna keep it 100. So the issue that I have with this is that this is something that has been done, you know, in WWE forever. This is not something new.
Yeah.
You know, the Matt Hardy Lita thing with Edge, that was wild when we were kids, right? Growing up watching that.
Insane.
Like, insane, especially thinking about it now as an adult, like looking back on that. That was like so not even cool to put on screen.
How do you go to your coworker and be like, knowing what took place between that trio of people, and then still have the level of professionalism to act on air? Yeah, that's amazing to me, because I know if I was caught up with something like that in real life, I would have to avoid the other party at all costs and not go out and have a choreographed fight with them. There's no way I could contain myself, you know, and that's just nuts, man.
It definitely is nuts. And like, so thinking about that now, and seeing like Nikki and John Cena and The Miz and Maurice, and like, okay, like whatever. I understand if you're a couple and, you know, you're wrestling the same promotion, obviously you're gonna get put in storylines together. I don't really think it's that bothers me as much. I just don't think it's necessary. I just don't. You know, she doesn't need him and he doesn't need her in that way. And they're making it like, oh, it's the man's man. And Seth's girlfriend Becky. I'm like, come on, just stop it. They're the champions. Let them be champions. You want to play off their relationship? That's cool. Like their little cute little things that they do on the ramp or like behind the scenes, that's fine. But you're making it into a storyline. Yeah, and now I'm over here like, oh my god, it's the 21st century. I'm bored. Yeah.
I feel like it's an opportunity for lazy writing. You know, WWE creative, like, oh, we have another, you know, these two are dating. Okay, we can make a cheap storyline. It requires no effort, and it feels like just another easy opportunity to write a story. And I'm interested to see how much they lean into it after the Extreme Rules match. If they're going to continue it, or if they're going to ease off of it because they're not promoting that match anymore. So
this is going to go all the way to WrestleMania, and then we're going to get a proposal.
Oh God, no, man. Oh no.
Don't do it to me.
They look so uncomfortable around each other too, like, because it's like probably like having like a 70-year-old man go out there and be affectionate with each other on the air, just make magic.
Make me believe it.
Yeah, like it's like not everybody expresses affection the same too, you know. So it's so awkward. I don't hate it by no means. It's kind of cringy for me. That's all.
Yeah, it's cringy, and like I understand they want to give Lacey Evans a push, but that's I have a whole other set of opinions on that. But I don't understand. And then Corbin's like, well, we're going to be the next power couple. First of all, you're both married to other people.
Yes.
So no. And now everyone's like, oh, well, they don't have to be in a relationship to be a power couple. Baby, that's what it means. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And then I see a lot of people like, oh, they're trying to make Seth and Becky into the the PG era version of Triple H and Stephanie, and I'm like, oh please, can't we come up with anything else?
Yeah.
Like, why does it always have to be about relationships? Like, I understand that's real life and it's like reality TV a little bit, and I'm like, can we just back off that? But I know that's not what they want to do. They want to entertain, they want sports entertainment, so they're going to go with that route over the the wrestling side.
Yeah, it's true. And like I said, I feel like it's just an easy story for them to write. Like,
sure.
Because you got to think it's got to be so hard to come up with stories. They're putting on just Raw and SmackDown alone. They're putting on 5 hours of television every week.
Right.
Creative has to keep stories coming, so it feels like it's like you lob them one. Like a relationship happens, like, okay, cool, we can take a break with these two people for a week and just do, like I said, lazy writing. And I don't know,
right.
it's different.
So I have a question for both of you guys.
Okay.
Do you guys think that these type of relationships are generally pushed when it's people that are more so on the top of the card versus someone like, let's say, Nikki Cross and
Killian Dane,
or Charlotte and Andrade,
or even the Canellises. Yeah, I think I don't think they really care too. If you're not getting much airtime, I don't think being in a relationship is all of a sudden going to propel you on screen. I feel like, it's if you already have kind of a good spotlight on you, then they'll probably push the relationship angle. So if you don't want your real life relationship brought out on wrestling TV, don't be too high in the card, and they'll leave you alone. That's my take.
Yeah, that's a good take. I also think if you look at like Lana and Rusev, for example, where are they, right? Yeah. They had a huge push a while ago, and when he first debuted, she was a ballet manager type vibe, and they got married, and then she had that thing with Dolph Ziggler and all this crazy stuff, and then
I forgot all about that. That was rough.
Right.
Oh,
that was rough.
Goodness.
And it's not meant. They're not going to do it with everybody, so I agree. It's only going to be for the people that they want to push, who's got the right. I'd say the right PR in a lot of ways too. It has to be packaged correctly, because she's done a lot of things and he's done a lot of things that that have publicly been looked down upon by WWE. So I think if they're not okay with it, then they're not going to push you as a couple. That's just what I think.
Where is Rusev and Lana by nowadays? Anyways, do y'all think? They feel like they're hard to read, as far as if they're going to stay loyal or if they're trying to get out. Like where do you think they stand with the company?
I mean, she's very vocal.
Yeah.
So she's very vocal and very honest about how she feels, and that she feels that she's pitched storylines and they've said no, but then they use the storylines for other people. So she's been very outspoken about that. So I don't really know what they're going to do. It's kind of difficult to say.
Yeah. Because if they left, I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised of all three things. They could leave and go to another rival company. That wouldn't surprise me. They could come back, and then be back on the air. That wouldn't, or they could just retire and walk away from wrestling altogether, and that wouldn't surprise me. It's kind of hard where other wrestlers, you feel like you got a good feel of where they might be heading. With them, I have no idea, honestly, what the future holds for Lana and Rusev. What else is going on is, I really want to hear both y'all's take on this. With the recent Twitter feud taking place between Rollins and Ospreay, similar to
in high school.
Yeah, similar to Becky Lynch's and Ronda Rousey's. We've since seen similar trash talk come up now with Joey Janela and Cody Hall, Scott Hall's son, and Drake Maverick and Mike Bennett. Do you think this is an effective way to promote yourself, or do you feel it could be damaging to the performers' careers? Ultimately, it could go that bad. Especially if they're not good at the online banter and trash talk, like Ronda Rousey, who's supposed to be on air. Ronda Rousey was supposed to be a big baby face, but she got eviscerated on Twitter, and it carried over to the actual product, and was probably one of the contributing factors to turning her heel towards the end of that year run.
It's a loaded question.
I don't mean for it to be loaded. I'm sorry, you guys.
No, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I meant just like for me personally, I don't know. I don't hate it, but it doesn't. Sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, okay, this is a one-sided beatdown online, and then with the Twitter platform, you have so many people that it's not just one-on-one online, and so I don't know how I would hate it, or how I would necessarily feel about it. But for me personally, the Twitter stuff, I'd say leave it alone. But I'm just wondering how y'all feel about it.
I think that well, this is my narrow Chicago take on this. People talk smack all day long, whatever. You talk it back, it's whatever, you know. And it's so it's like if people are gonna talk smack, it should lead to something. Either we're gonna scrap right now, or it's gonna lead to a match or something, you know. But if it's just smack talk and it doesn't go anywhere, it kind of seems just kind of pointless, and it just ends up feeling more like a high school thing instead of just like, okay, it's gonna build up hype to something, you know.
Yeah.
But if so someone's getting, like you said, eviscerated, or it's just very one-sided, and it starts fun, then it just gets like, okay, that's just sad. Like, let's just move on from that. That wasn't cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just was thinking how I want to say this. So.
Just say it. Just say it. Go for it.
I'm gonna say it. I'm just trying to organize my thoughts. I think there's something to be said for sticking up for what you do, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. And I think if it's playful and, a little bit jabby, but nothing crazy, then I think we're good, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You want to promote your side and they're going to promote their side. That's cool. I think once it crosses the line and you start getting real personal and inappropriate and teenage type stuff, then I think it's gone too far. For me, I think you need to say, if you want to do that, then say what you want to say and then leave it alone. This constant back and forth, and it just makes it worse. And it's not a good look for anybody. When Seth brought up the bank account and Will just kept going back and saying more things, it's just leave it, let it go. It becomes a vicious cycle of bad after a while. And it just makes you look immature after a while. Once you say it, that's cool. And you want to, like I said, you want to defend your company, you want to defend who you work for, you want to defend the people you work with, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I just think when it goes a little over that line, you got to shut it down. Because then what's the point? You're in two different promotions, you're never going to wrestle unless one of you goes to the other place. So say what you got to say and then shut it down.
Right, and actually I do admire Rollins sticking up for WWE, because it feels like it's the popular thing now to do is crap on the company that you're working for. But you really, a lot of people, I at first when Moxley left the company, I was all about the interviews, stick it to him. But now I've kind of had some hindsight in it, and it may have been a little overboard, because they did give him that platform. He's arguably one of the hottest commodities right now in wrestling due to the platform that WWE offered him. So it's a fine line to walk also with how you talk about the company, and I did admire that of Seth Rollins sticking up for them in recent lieu of, once again, the bad PR that they've had. Speaking of which, just kind of a quick thought. Have you noticed in the last couple weeks the quality of wrestling seems to be better on the shows? Or maybe we're having a couple better matches than in recent memory, I believe.
I would say there was a time where several weeks in a row I was disenchanted and I stopped watching because I just couldn't.
Yep. I
just couldn't anymore. I was at the point where I'm if it's not bringing me joy and if it's not making me happy, why am I watching it? So I turned it off. And then the past, leading up to Stomping Ground, I watched a little bit, but not all of it, and that really helped me enjoy Stomping Ground more. And then this week I only watched a little bit, and I saw a few matches that I liked, but last night I had to kind of tune that one out. So I would say there are things happening. There are better matches. Stomping Ground was much better than I originally had anticipated. That made me happy. But overall, week to week, it's just not a product that I'm thrilled about, though there are some shining spots within it.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel it is kind of, I forget who said it, but they did say that they found themselves, I believe it was just a tweet from a fan that was liked by one of the performers, but they found themselves watching the product and giving the product the benefit of the doubt due to their previous years of good work and not judging it by the quality that it's currently producing. And I could definitely see that. I will say though that Stomping Grounds was refreshing because it was way better than anyone gave it any shot of being. And there's been a couple more quality matches here and there. So I mean, it's keeping me, but it is hard to keep that product running on my TV. I'm not gonna lie, it is difficult at times.
I much like Queen, also tuned out a bit. I started reading books again.
Yeah.
Hey, okay.
There you go.
Love that.
You know, and then you come back and you see a match, whatever. But yeah, definitely 45 minutes of promos and just stuff like that.
It's hard, man. It becomes background noise for me. I still have it on every week, but how hard I'm like watching it is what becomes difficult. You know,
which is part of the good thing of having so many different options of wrestling. Like, I'm not gonna waste 3 hours watching Raw. I'm gonna go catch up with some New Japan, or watch some Stardom, or even some of the other local promotions, or even a brand that gets stepped on a lot, which is 205 Live. They have been killing it for months now, months and months and months, and just no one really pays attention to them. And like, I always tell people, if you're bored with that, there's plenty of other places you can watch wrestling. Even if you want to leave WWE, even within them, there's other brands and stuff like NXT UK, for example. Just different things that can give you what you want, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the other thing too, to speak on your point, is like, I feel like there's a lot of people who struggle with the criticism part. You know, it's okay to be critical of a product that you love. It's okay to say, hey, you know, I'm not really vibing with this right now. It's not really going for me. Criticism is healthy. It's something that we all need to do on ourselves, on others, on things that we watch. It's fine. But I think a lot of people are stuck in this mentality of like, if you either stop watching it or keep watching it and suck it up. You know, it's not really like that. It's okay to step away if you're not enjoying it. And it's okay to like relax a little bit and try to find something else if you are unhappy. If you're constantly being negative all the time, over and over and over again, then why are you watching, dude? Don't watch it then.
Why would you do anything, you know, that you're constantly...
That's like torture. Don't do that. There are so many other things to do, and if you love WWE, that's great. They also have NXT, NXT UK, 205 Live. They have all that other content that you can go on the network and watch old stuff. It's fine to step back if you're not enjoying it, and I feel like a lot of people are stuck in that, no, I'm a fan and I'm gonna watch it and it's my right to be negative about it every week. Well, I mean, then that's what you're gonna do to yourself, I guess. But yeah. I wish more people would open their mind to like, cool, like sometimes we dip out of things and that's fine, you know?
Yeah,
that's a really good point. It's just people get stuck in that loyalty tribe mind mentality.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I'm definitely one of those people where for many times, like, I found myself watching a show and probably should have walked away, you know, but like I said, I've got a sense of like optimism. I'm hanging on to right now with actually what we're going to dive into here in a second is with AEW's rise. I do really believe WWE is going to start churning out a better product.
Yes,
because we're right around the corner from having new competition. I don't know what the level of competition will be, but it's definitely going to draw eyes to a different product. I believe that's going to help WWE step up their performance. And then also the other thing that's not being talked about too much right now, but we're not too far from it, is Vince McMahon can't run the company forever. He arguably could be stepping away as soon as next year with the launch of XFL. And one would believe that it's going to be handed over to Triple H. I've been expressing the idea that maybe it goes to Kevin Dunn. I'm hoping that it doesn't. Just because, you know, we know what Triple H can do with the NXT product. And so I think with the realm of AEW coming up and then the potential of, you know, creative being handed over to Triple H and writers having more freedom, and we're not having that 70-something-year-old filter for all of our stories, that we are right around the corner from another good times with WWE. Like, I really believe the product will be getting better, and that's kind of what's keeping me hooked. I think just that idea alone.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about it. You know, AEW is going to be something very special, and I've said it a couple of different times, and I still stand by it, that AEW coming onto the scene and doing what it's doing, and what I think it really will do in the fall, it's only good things. It's going to cause people to step up their game, you know? Yeah. And it should cause people to step up their game, from WWE down to the local indies. It's going to cause people to get a little pep in their step and maybe change some things, reevaluate some things, push more. And that's a good thing for promotions, it's a good thing for talent, and it's a good thing for fans.
Absolutely.
So I'm here for that. I'm not here to really crap on WWE or anything like that. I love WWE. I want them to be better. That's all. I just want them to do better things. I don't know if Vince McMahon really ever will step away fully. I don't know if that's going to happen next year or within the next couple of years. It's possible, but I don't know. Yeah. So I think it's just going to be a matter of how are these promotions in the world of wrestling going to react, adapt, and change as we move forward, because something needs to happen. It always does. Everything has an evolution, everything has a cycle, right? And it might be time to, you know, do some change. And with SmackDown moving to Fridays, you know, it's going to be very, very different for them in the fall. So it's going to be very interesting, I think, as to what's going to happen next.
It is, man. It's really intriguing and such a well thought out take on it too. Yeah,
it's very eloquent. I can't.
Thank you. I am a queen. What can I say?
Nice.
So,
just kidding.
Well, I think that's a good stopping point right there. Really quick though, we obviously we got Fyter Fest this weekend. What match are you guys looking forward to most?
Ooh. All of them.
All of. I mean, yeah, right. The card is so high.
The card is so good, dude. So good. I'm really excited. Oh man, do we have to pick one? Okay, let me think about it.
Yeah, gun to your head. Me, it's the easy choice. With me, it's gonna be Moxley and Janela. I'm all on the Moxley train right now, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's not a bad pick, actually. It's pretty.
It feels like it feels like it's the easy pick though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because the, like you said, the whole card is stacked.
I gotta go with Lucha Bros Laredo Kid against Kenny Omega Young Bucks.
Nice, yeah. That's probably gonna be the performance of the night, I bet.
That's gonna be a really, really good one. I'm also excited for the tag match with Best Friends, SCU, and Private Party. So I just was at Northeast Wrestling's event where Moxley fought Darby Allin, and one of the tag matches had Private Party in it.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't seen Private Party yet, get ready. They are unbelievable. Watching them go, holy crap! I couldn't believe I was there because I couldn't believe that they were there. Like that was the match I was getting to see, and I got to see them up close and personal, like maybe 10 feet from me, if that. And
so you were there live for Moxley and Darby Allin?
Yes, I was.
Oh my goodness, nice!
What a spectacle, dude! It was great.
Wow. Yeah.
Like the handcuff spot.
Yeah, where he tied his hands, and that boy was like, "Okay, no hands, that's fine. I'll just flip anyway."
That is insane. Oh
You're balanced, dude. I can't.
Oh
I think the sleeper match on Fyter Fest is in my opinion, the sleeper match is Nyla Rose versus Riho and Yuka Sakazaki. That one for sure.
Absolutely, man.
That one's gonna be great.
I love the recent spotlight that women in wrestling have been getting, because before where, you know, they said WWE where like male wrestlers could leave and they have options nowadays. It didn't necessarily feel the same for female wrestlers the last couple years, but it seems like now more recently there's options for everybody. And I love what AEW is doing with the female roster too as well. I'm stoked, man. I'm so stoked for this.
It's really exciting, isn't it? What the best part is that you can watch this for free. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? What do you mean? We're just gonna be able to watch live. I'm like, I'm blown away. I'm loving what they're doing. I'm super excited too. The other match that I forgot about, but I just remembered, was Hangman versus MJF versus Jimmy Havoc versus Jungle Boy. What is even gonna be that match? It's gonna be wild.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be really exciting. Yeah, and you get to watch it for free. I can't.
I know, man. This is
it's so good.
What a time to be a wrestling fan, man.
Right?
We'll go ahead. We'll stop it there. Miss Queen, thank you so much for being on our show. Please go ahead, take this opportunity, plug anything you want to plug on our show. We're grateful for having you here.
Oh, well, I'm so grateful you had me on. Thank you so much for inviting me. You guys can find me on Twitter at TheQueenofNE. I am the host of Queen's Court every single Wednesday on BrainBustaRadio. Great group of people there. Please follow them at BrainBustaRadio. There's so many different amazing podcasts that you can listen to. I am also queen of DYWTSB with Pops and Mort. That comes out every single Friday. We also have a couple other shows, the Queen of Pops Experience, Combos with Pops, and Mr. Matt Granberry's Real Guy Wrestle Talk. So we got a lot of things to offer you there, and it was really my pleasure to speak with you boys today. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Thank you.